What if I told you that the thing you've been working your whole life toward might actually be holding you back? Yeah, I'm talking about buying a house. And before you click off, just hear me out, because what I'm about to share completely changed the way I think about money, wealth, and what it actually means to win financially. So here's the uncomfortable truth. Homeownership has been sold to us like it's the finish line. Like once you sign those papers and get those keys, you've made it. You're officially an adult. You're building wealth. You've escaped the rat race. But nobody talks about what happens after the celebration fades and the real bills start rolling in. Don't leave yet. Let me explain. Let me start by dismantling the biggest myth out there, and that's the idea that renting is just throwing money away. You've heard it before. Your parents said it. Your coworkers say it. But think about this for a second. When you're a homeowner, you're still paying someone. You're paying the bank through mortgage interest every single month, especially in those early years when barely any of your payment goes toward actual equity. You're paying the local government through property taxes that can and do go up. You're paying insurance companies, contractors, lawn services, and HOA boards who want your hedges trimmed to a very specific height. So let's stop pretending that renting is the financially irresponsible choice, because that comparison has never been that simple. Now here's where it gets really interesting, and this is the part most people completely ignore. Every dollar you lock up in a down payment is a dollar that stops working for you. Imagine you put $60,000 down on a home. That's your 20% on a $300,000 property. Now what if instead you invested that same $60,000 into an index fund averaging around 8% annual returns? In 10 years, you're looking at nearly $130,000. That's not magic. That's just compound interest doing its thing. And your house? It historically appreciates somewhere between 3 and 5% per year. The math alone should make you pause. But wait, it gets more complicated than that. Real estate is what investors call illiquid. If you need cash tomorrow, you cannot sell a house tomorrow. You have to list it, wait for buyers, negotiate, deal with agents, pay closing costs, and hope the market cooperates. Compare that to stocks, where you can sell and have cash in your account within days. That flexibility is genuinely valuable and completely underrated. Now, I want to get personal here because I actually went through this myself. I bought my first home at 24 years old. My whole plan was to build wealth through real estate. Buy a house, live in it briefly, turn it into a rental property, collect cash flow, repeat the process, and build an empire. Sounds great in theory, right? The reality was very different. My water bill went from around $40 a month in my apartment to almost $300 once I had a yard with sprinklers running. Electric bills climbed. Small things around the house kept breaking. Once my warranty expired, every repair came directly out of my pocket. That house is now a rental that basically breaks even. I'm not losing money, but I'm definitely not making any either. And that whole experience completely shifted my strategy towards stocks and away from real estate. Here's something else nobody prepares you for. The emotional and mental weight of home ownership is real. When something breaks in a rental apartment, you submit a maintenance request and move on with your life. When something breaks in your house, it's your problem, your stress, your money, and your weekend. That psychological burden adds up over time, and it's a cost that never shows up on any mortgage calculator. So does this mean you should never buy a house? Absolutely not. There are legitimate scenarios where buying makes total sense. If you're planning to stay in one place for at least 5 to 7 years, if you can genuinely afford not just the mortgage, but all the hidden costs on top, and if you're buying because it fits your actual life rather than because society told you to, then buying could be a smart move. But here's the 3-question test I'd give anyone thinking about buying right now. 1. Can you afford the real monthly cost, including taxes, insurance, maintenance, and utilities, without straining your budget? 2. Do you have an emergency fund specifically for home repairs, so one broken water heater doesn't send you into debt? 3. Are you buying because it genuinely makes sense for your life, or because you feel behind compared to your friends? And speaking of the current market, interest rates sitting in the 6 to 7% range have made things brutally difficult. A $500,000 home at 3% interest is a very different financial decision than that same home at 6%. Your required income essentially doubles. So if the numbers don't work right now, please do not let social pressure rush you into one of the biggest financial decisions of your life. The bottom line is this: renting and investing, the difference can absolutely build more wealth than buying, especially if you're disciplined about where that money goes. And buying can also be the right move if you do it with clear eyes, realistic numbers, and a long time horizon. What it should never be is a decision driven by fear of missing out or what people think success looks like. Build wealth on your own terms. Make decisions based on your numbers, your goals, and your actual life, not based on what everyone else says you should want. And if this video made you think differently about any of this, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear where you stand on the whole buying versus renting debate. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? See you in the next one.